move to cheaper parts of the country. Here is the House Democratic leader.
We have to continue to put back aggressively in the courts. More than 100 different lawsuits have been filed related to over 35 different unconstitutional and illegal executive orders. Trump administration is not winning in court. They are losing.
Fact check. True. They are facing losses and setbacks in many of these cases, not all, but most, that have reached the point where you have federal courts, including the DC courts, ruling on these tests of power. Just this week, judges handed Trump setbacks on the immigration issues and some aspects of the Musk cuts. Today, Trump did get a judge to side with him over firing officials, and the Supreme Court gave Trump more time, effectively a delay that holds the status quo, meaning they're not going to stop some of these cuts in the way they're being pursued for now, but that case likely to take more argument and ultimately perhaps a full Supreme Court briefing. Meanwhile, fired USAID workers were seen leaving the building today because this is what some of the actual people and the actual jobs eliminated looks like. Supporters gathered, there was applause and encouragement. It was at times an emotional scene. I'll go on.
Thank you.
This is the real world. These are real people with real jobs around the country. Over 900,000 affected in red states alone from federal workers. We showed some of the pushback and the concern about that around the country. But you can't look at this in isolation. As far back as the founding of this country, there has always been a narrative, a discussion about limiting government. It's not new to Trump or Musk. It is in the very fabric of the founding documents, limiting government power out of concerns for abuse and out of sometimes concern that the government shouldn't be too big and sprawling and distant from the lived daily lives of the people. And so Elon Musk, if nothing else, is a skilled communicator and student. He has learned some of the rhetoric and the practices of this country. He's learned how people talk about politics. He's bought a whole platform where he can artificially make it sound like he's more popular than he is, or boost a tweet like that, where it's not just a tweet, it's an effort to get $2 billion, as I mentioned, out of you. But you can't look at that only in isolation. You have to look at the broader effort here to take control of this government and then give money, which again, I cannot emphasize this enough. You will hear me repeat it because it's true and important. Your money back to some of the richest people on earth in a process that they couldn't win the first time. He didn't win the FAA contract. Different company won it. So rather than just accepting the loss, which might be familiar if you think about a habit that Trump and Musk share, Elon Musk says, let me just go back in and cheat this time and use my power to demand that which I otherwise couldn't win in the free market. So it's not only apparently unfair, apparently corrupt, apparently a conflict of interest that he's not recusing, breaking his own vow. It's also a sign of exactly why you need people who are honest about how they want to be skeptical of government and not merely hijacking it to separate you from your money. Howard Dean is here, and I want to ask him about how this